Whether you have a diagnosis or not, I don't care. Jump inside this podcast and I'm going to teach you how to read your own blood work so you can find the answers to your health concerns. Yes, those normal labs that your doctor keeps saying, oh, they look great, we'll see you again in 6 months. They really have answers in them if you know how to read it correctly. So come join me along this journey, leave a review, and share with your friends. Let's dive in. What health coaching certification program do I recommend? I get this question asked all the time. Well, I've finally vetted them out, and the one program that outshines all others is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN. There are 3 reasons why. 1, it's very clinically based and teaches labs. I myself turned down a master's degree in functional medicine because it didn't teach labs. 2, you have lifetime access and it always gets updated. This is important because things change and you need to be in the know. 3, when you complete the training on your timeline, they have an incredible post-grad community. So they don't just kick you out on the streets and say, good luck. If you've been thinking about receiving your health coaching certification or are a practitioner looking to branch out and scale a virtual practice, now is the time. Make 2023 your year. Do this for you, your family, and those you're about to help. Go to fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie. Check the show notes for a $250 off code available for a limited time. I am happy to announce that I have partnered with Functional Diagnostic Nutrition because I love their program so much. They are now the podcast sponsor. All right, let's get into the podcast episode. Here we go. Welcome to the Beyond the Diagnosis podcast with me, your host, Dr. Kylie. If you experience hair thinning and you want a fuller, heavier set of hair like I do, my hair is so thin and it's about to become thinner postpartum. Tune in because Dr. Faraz is here to help us figure out ways naturally that we can have thicker hair. Dr. Faraz, welcome on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kylie. Happy to be on.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, totally. So I was a normal kid in college, and I started experiencing hair loss in my 3rd year, so that'd be junior. And I was in the college soccer team, and I was super confident, and I wanted to be confident for the ladies, but unfortunately, hair loss came in the way. And I was in the shower one day, and I just remember fistfuls of hair in my hands, and my level of freak out went from like stress levels from 2 to 11 overnight, or in that exact moment, actually. And then I looked at all different types of solutions. I went to holistic practitioners. I tried biotin. I tried vitamin supplements. I tried shampoos. And nothing really slowed or stopped my hair loss. It certainly slowed it down, so I'm thankful for that. But that continued for many, many years. And then I was so desperate at this point. I was 26 years old that I was shaving my head every 6 months because somebody had told me that when you shave, the hair comes back thicker and coarser. And so that was the level of desperation I was in.
Oh
and that wasn't working either. So I went to a hair transplant doctor, and I went to see, there was a female doctor, a very nice lady. And I said, I need help. I'm about to lose it all. And so she says, you're not a candidate yet, but let's get you on a pharmaceutical that can help slow down the progression of your hair loss. And then when time comes, we're here to help you. And so I got on a pharmaceutical, which I was on for 10 years, and that's got side effects, unfortunately, which I didn't know at the time. And luckily, I did not experience those side effects. I was one of the lucky ones. And so after 10 years of doing that, I was starting a podcast in longevity and anti-aging, and I decided that I was going to try to do this naturally, get off the pharmaceuticals if I can. Nothing wrong with them. They help save a lot of lives, but I wanted to do it naturally. And so I traveled the world, met a lot of doctors, went to hair loss conferences, met with people doing regenerative technologies like stem cells and exosomes and PRPs, and also a lot of experience in the actual hair transplants of the world. And what I gleaned out of all of this is that, using a supplement or just a serum by itself may be effective for some people, but it wasn't for me. And for a lot of people that I spoke to, it wasn't for them either. And the big aha that I had was if you could combine 3 or 4 ways to stimulate the hair follicles together at the same time, then you could produce meaningful results in your hair thickness, fighting hair thinning and also getting the thicker and fuller hair that you want.
Do they ever talk about like why you were losing your hair? Because my husband, I mean, he's all into this. Because at 21 years old, his house burned down, and it was like he had a hair of hair like you, and now he's even to the point where he's looking for something because of it, his hair loss, and it was just like that huge amount of stress where he'd wake up and see piles and piles of hair on the pillow from this instance. So let's keep talking because you
Totally.
might have your next customer.
Totally. And so I can explain that when you have a big stressor in your life, physical or physiological, so either in the mind or in the body, like we're talking surgery, we're talking like an accident, we're talking a breakup, we're talking you're moving to a new home, to a new city, a new country. Um, in my instance, it was also stress related that kicked it off, but then the hormonal aspect caught up with me. And so when there's a big stressor, like even the virus that was going around the last couple of years, if you get that 3 months after it or 2 months after it, you get a big shed because what happens is your hair goes from the growth phase, which 90% of your hair should be in at any single time on your head. It goes from the growth phase to the resting phase. And for it to come out of the resting phase, it has to fall out first. So a lot of hair that have transitioned into that phase, they're all falling out at the same time. And people can freak out because you could lose up to half your hair in just weeks. And so it's a very traumatic time for a lot of people. You'll see, when you wake up, you'll see a lot of hair on the pillow. When you're washing your hair, you see fistfuls in your hand. It's pretty, it's pretty sad for people to experience this, and I've been there. But so that's the stress-related component. The coming back to your question about your husband, though, for most men and women, the number one reason for hair thinning is because of hormones, hormonal imbalance. What happens is testosterone gets converted to a hormone called dihydrotestosterone, and that has been researched for the last 40, 50 years, and that is the culprit most scientists believe behind the actual thinning of the hair follicles. What it does is it goes up to your scalp, it attaches to the androgen or the male hormone receptors, and starts to thin or suffocate the follicle. So what happens as the result is your hair starts thinning. So if you're in the shower, for example, and you have some hair in your hands because you're washing your hair, easiest way to tell if you have hormonal hair loss is you can stick some of these hairs on the tile in the shower, and you'll see a discrepancy in how thick some of these hairs are. So if some hairs are thinner than others, you'll know that there is some thinning going on, which is primarily because of dihydrotestosterone. The other thing DHT does is also elongates the time that your hair is in the resting phase, meaning it's off of your head. So not only does it thin your follicles, but it also keeps it off of your head for a longer time. So thus giving the impression that you have less hair than you actually do. So again, stressors can cause thinning. The stressors do cause a lot of thinning, but the hormonal aspect and the hormonal thinning is progressive. And for women, especially, starts around the age of 35 as your estrogen and progesterone are declining as relative compared to testosterone. And so those changes in the delicate balance of the hormones start to trigger the hormonal imbalances, which can cause a thinning, starting at age 35, but certainly going into and postmenopause.
Yeah. So you said there's 3 to 4 ways to stimulate the hair follicle. One of them, I'm guessing, is hormone, helping those hormones stabilize. What would be
Absolutely.
the other three?
Yeah, so the four ways that I mentioned is the ways that we are working with different tools to stimulate the hair follicle. But let me address the big reasons, right? So hormones, as you said, is the number one reason. Ongoing stress is another reason that we lose hair. Nutritional aspects, when you have deficiencies,
Mhm.
particularly in the big four or big five, which are vitamin D, iron, folate, B12, and zinc. These are the big ones that you want to make sure you're in the middle of the range for. Um, and so this is the third reason for hair loss. There's also thyroid imbalances, and you can be taking medications that can cause the hair thinning. So what we did is we said, how can we look at stimulating the follicles in multiple ways so you can cover as much of this, cover as much of the reasons for thinning as possible. And so what we came up with is that you want to balance the hormones, you want to balance the stress, you want to give the nutrition, you want to provide some thyroid support, and that then became the products that we created.
How the heck did you do that in one product?
Yeah, so it's actually 4 products.
Okay.
And so one of them is a supplement, which it has a lot of goodies inside of it. So it balances, again, like we said, the hormones, especially the dihydrotestosterone. The conversion from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone is what we go after. And there's natural substances that have been proven to reduce that conversion. So we've got that. We also have adaptogenic herbs that reduce your cortisol and your stress response in your body. That brings down the stress. We've got a ton of nutrients in the supplement itself that give you the big five plus
Mhm.
more that your hair needs. In addition to biotin, and there's many more antioxidants in it. We also help gently support the thyroid function, and we support other vitamins and minerals like copper that can also help regrow and enable thicker, fuller hair. So that's the supplement, which is from within. Then we've got a serum that balances the hormones on the scalp. So you want, not only do you want to balance the hormones internally, but also on the scalp where the problem is. And so we balance the hormones on the scalp. And also, again, serum has got a lot of ingredients that help nourish the scalp, that help create a younger scalp so they can create more hair, create more thicker, fuller hair. And the third and the fourth aspect of it is very interesting because the third one is using brushing, using a brush to really stimulate vigorously your scalp every evening. Like grandma used to say, most women's grandma would say, brush your hair 100 times every night. Well, now we don't even touch your hair if it's falling. And I've been there because if it falls, you don't want to touch it, right? But the exact opposite is true. The more you stimulate, the more you massage, the more you vigorously get brushing into the mix, the more your hair will grow thicker and fuller. Also, it gets rid of all the sebum and the buildup on your scalp, so it allows your scalp to breathe. So that's number three. And the fourth item that we
So,
use,
hold on, let me stop you. I don't hardly brush my hair.
okay, well, you have
I,
great
I,
hair.
I brush my hair daily. Like in the mornings, I'll brush it at night for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's obviously wrong if I'm wanting to stimulate the
Totally.
hair follicles. So
Totally.
on a daily basis, what should I be doing?
We recommend 100 to 200 vigorous brushes of your scalp. I don't really care how much you brush your hair. The
So it's more
scalp is
like
where,
maybe like scrubbing in the bathtub, in the shower.
yeah, you could do that. Tech, I tend to ask women not to do anything to your hair when it's wet, because that is the time when your follicle is most susceptible to damage, right? It's elongated and a lot of damage can happen. You can break it off as well too. So I just recommend doing it on dry hair and brushing it at least 100 or 200 times. And some women have said, well, my hair is super curly or coily or kinky and I can't get the brush through. Then just use smaller motions. But the point is you want to put pressure and massaging into your scalp. What that does is it tells your scalp, like, I just want to. It's kind of like women love touching their face, right? They're like putting massages. They're massaging it. They're doing creams. They're doing all these things in their scalp. Men hardly touch their face, but women are very good at this. But the scalp, nobody touches, especially if your hair is falling out. And I would argue that touching the scalp, massaging the scalp, turns on thousands of genes that help remind your body that this part is required. It's needed. And so that is the rationale behind it, but it also creates thicker hair because it increases circulation to your scalp. The circulation brings with it oxygen, it brings with it nutrients that your follicles need. And so it's really, really good to massage and vigorously brush your hair.
I've never thought about it like that. Like I
Yeah.
have a little 2-year-old now. She's almost 3. But her hair is the same red color as mine, but it's very curly. So it's a lot like mine's just straight board. I can just whip through it really quickly. Hers, we have to wash it, prep it, use like detangler, and then I have to convince her that it's okay for mom to, you know, comb her hair because I have to in order for it to not become dreads. But I'm gonna start paying more attention to how many times I actually brush the scalp while we're doing this. I
Totally.
think
And
for her too, it's hard when the hair's not wet.
uh, I just urge caution, right, for the obvious reasons that hair can break, especially when it's wet. But what you can do is when it's dry, you don't have to straight brush front to back with the brush, right? You could just do smaller portions, and you could do back and forth. You could do round circles. You could actually hold the brush down on your scalp with some pressure, and then move your skin with it. You don't have to brush through. as long
Okay.
as you're getting the stimulation on the scalp and reminding your scalp that it's got a function, a very important function of growing thick, beautiful hair. So please keep doing that.
All right. What's
And
number
then
4?
number 4 is something that women also use in their face. It's called the derma roller. And so the derma roller, what it does is you just roll it through your scalp and all the thinning areas, and you go 8 times back and forth or up and down, left to right, and then diagonally both ways. What that does is causes very, very slight, um, I guess, inflammation in your scalp, and it causes your body to send stem cells and growth factors to heal these tiny micro wounds. And when it does that, actually, research has shown that it grows 15% hair by itself, just the dermal rolling. And so that's amazing. We'll take that all day long, but it also creates a younger scalp because the collagen and elastin get a chance to reorganize and become younger. And so that's 2 things. Number 3, like I said, growth factors come in to help all those areas heal even better. And number 4, it opens up the channels in your scalp so that the serum that you apply right after you derma roll gets even better penetration into the hair follicles, so it can be more effective.
You're going internally with the supplement, the serum externally, and then stimulating with the brushing and the dermal colonizer.
Totally. Yeah.
And if
You
you're
got
doing that, it's working because I would have never imagined you had hair loss.
Totally. I was, yeah, I had 10 to 15 years where my number one, when you think about, humans have 60,000 thoughts every day. I think half of those thoughts every day were about my hair, insecurities about my hair. Nobody knew because that's the deepest, darkest parts of you that you don't ever tell anybody. But it's been a long journey, and I questioned many, many times why I had this issue, why I was the one that had to bear this heavy burden. And now I realize that maybe it was for a reason. I'm able to help others now.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me a couple of success stories you've seen with your
Yeah,
besides
totally,
your own.
totally. One of my friends, you might even know her, based in Austin. She got the virus year and a half ago. 3 months later, she calls me, basically very, very nervous because she's losing a ton of hair. So we meet for lunch, and then I say, "Hey, how's it going?" And as I look up to see her, there's like tears flowing down her face, and I go, "Oh my God, it's really bad, isn't it?" Yes, I think that I'm gonna have to. I think I might lose all my hair, and I'm probably have to go bald, shave it off, and get a wig. And I was like, "My goodness, I can imagine." And so I got her all the products, and she was very good. She was very good at doing the whole protocol every single day, and then the roller once or twice a week. So she did that for 3 months, and then I got a call from her, and she said, "My hair loss has stopped. My hair is growing back. I can't believe this. This is so good." And like all of those fears and thoughts that she had in her mind just went away completely. She stopped thinking about her hair. From the moment of thinking about her hair all day long to not even thinking about her hair because it's coming back. And then a month later, I was walking behind her to a common event. She was a block ahead of me, and I was like, "Who's that woman that has her hair blowing in the wind? She's got beautiful hair." Turns out it was her, and I saw her later inside, and I was like, "Wow, I was admiring your hair from a block away."
You have
And so
no
that's
idea.
you have no idea. That's one story. Another story is we've got lots of clients. One woman in LA in particular, she's in her 50s, so she's been losing hair for a while. She said her hair loss started when she was in her late 40s, but it was slow and gradual, and she was noticing her part was widening down the middle, and so that's what happens with hormonal hair loss with women. Your part starts to get bigger and bigger, and so we sent her the full 4 products because when it's hormonal hair loss, you want to go after it really aggressively. Otherwise, it'll keep continuing. And so we sent her all the products. She spent about 3.5 months, and then she called me and she said, "Wow, my hair is filling in. My 2 bald spots are going away. I can't see them anymore, and I feel so much more confident, and my hair feels youthful." And a lot of these stories are actually on the website, so you don't have to take my word for it. If you're listening, you can go to fullyvital.com and look at the results tab, and there's a bunch of these videos of women giving us testimonials of how they were feeling before and what our products did for them.
So when I'm postpartum here, because I'm halfway through pregnancy,
Yeah.
do I just use this plan, this protocol?
Totally. So, what I would recommend, definitely don't use it during your pregnancy. After you give birth, and I would also recommend, just out of an overabundance of caution, is once you're you are done with with breastfeeding, then you can start the protocol. You can start during too, but just in case, for any reason,
The
we're giving you a
hormones,
lot of
you're gonna be
just
crazy.
hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So give me a few months after, when you're done with breastfeeding, and then I'll send you the products, and let's do a before and after with you.
Where can people buy them?
Yeah, so you go to fullyvital.com. That's the website. You can go there, and I would recommend, if you're going there, go all in with us. We have a 4-month money back guarantee. That's the best in the business, because we really want to get you results. And with that said, get the 3-month kit, get the 90-day kit, so you can actually see results. Because hair growth, unfortunately, takes a little bit of time. So you've got to be patient for at least 3 months to see great results. That's all I ask.
3 months. Like, people lose their hair for 10 years and they can fix it in 3 months. Like, heck, that's a lot. That's fast.
Totally. I
And
mean,
probably way cheaper than a wig, surgery, like all the things.
yeah, we've got female clients or customers that have come to us saying that I spent thousands of dollars on a helmet. I spent $4,000 doing a PRP with the doctor, in which they do 4 PRP injections, 1 per month. And then they say, we'll see after 4 months. Is there a money back guarantee? Hell no. And you've already spent the $4,000, right? So I'm like, spend a little bit of money with us. We will cover all of your investment back if it doesn't work, because we really want to help you.
That's cool. That's super cool. Okay, FullyVital, FullyVital.
Correct. .com.
Okay, cool. All right, what else are you up to?
I do the anti-aging podcast. I've got a anti-aging and longevity podcast that I have very, very smart people, and you're coming on as well, Dr. Kylie. And we talk about how to live longer, healthier lives and the longevity revolution that's coming. So what I try to do is instill or tease out small tips that you can use every single day to enhance your longevity, look and feel younger and sexier, and live a great life.
That's what's the podcast called again?
Yeah, the podcast is called Anti-Aging Hacks.
There you go. There you go, guys. Anti-Aging Hacks, the podcast. Go to fullyvital.com and thank Dr. Faraz for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kylie. Glad to be on.
The health coaching certification program that I recommend is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN. You can get started anytime. So grab the $250 off code from the show notes and go to fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie and get started. Don't wait any longer. Make 2023 your year. Do this for you, your family, and for those you're about to help. fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie. Ready to have all of your blood work compiled in one location where you can easily read it all together? Well, go grab my book, Why Are My Labs Normal, on Amazon. Grab it, learn how to read your own labs, and take the power back in your hands, because your normal blood work is loaded with answers. You just got to have the right person reading it, and the right person can be you. Go grab it on Amazon, Why Are My Labs Normal by Dr. Kylie Burton. Leave a review, and we'll see you on the next episode.